County Sheriff's Office. And the Sheriff's Office is divided into three major departments: the Corrections Department, Court Services Department, and the Police Department. During my 22 years, I served 3 years in the Corrections Department, that's better known as the County Jail, more known as the County Jail, and 19 years in the Sheriff's Police Department. During my 19 years in the Sheriff's Police Department, I served 3 years on the county SWAT team. I was the first and only African American on the county SWAT team in the 90s. I served 6 years in the Field Operations Bureau, which some departments call patrol, and 10 years in the gang crime narcotics section, which I pretty much made, made my bones there.
Okay.
I was promoted to the rank of sergeant in 1995 and was assigned a team of 9 investigators where we could and the Illinois State Police, and that I was detailed away from the department probably for a total of 2.5 years, and that's an honor because generally the cream of the crop is detailed away to federal and state agencies. My educational background consists of a BA degree in psychology, a master's degree in public administration, and I'm currently a doctoral student working on my PhD in psychology. I am a candidate for my PhD in psychology, and a candidate which protection of police service for the residents of unincorporated Cook County.
Okay.
That mission is going to change. We're going to go into a countywide police strategy.
Countywide
police strategy.
Wow. Okay. So, what other strategies are you going to omit right now? Because with the opinions on that, I want your personal opinions, but from a legal aspect, is it right to be having these gun laws going on at this present time with the gangs going on and situations with homicides raising in Chicago? How will the new first African American sheriff of Cook County get this situation straight?
Well, concealed carry is the law. The first wave of permits went out a couple of weeks ago. I think a little over 5,000 gun permits went out to those, probably the instructors and those other type individuals that applied early. But the position that I take on that, it's law right now. There's nothing we can do about it. As the next sheriff, what we're going to do, it's going to be, plus a lot of public relations going to go on. And I think a lot of other law enforcement departments are going to require that if you are carrying, that you announce and acknowledge if you're stopped and you're carrying, that you make that known to the police officer, just as if you give him his driver's license. So, just an example, if a motorist is stopped by a police officer, the first thing we say is, I am carrying your officer and I have a concealed carry permit. So you give them your driver's license and your concealed carry permit, and that change the whole dynamics of the traffic stop.
Okay.
So he knows that you have something, and it kind of relieves that officer that's making a traffic stop at the same time.
Now, do you feel that it is really? Do you think this law was really effective for the state of Illinois with the high gang crime and murder rate that's going on in the state of Illinois?
Well, you look at all the other 49 states that already have concealed carry. LA has a gang problem. Florida has a gang problem. Missouri has a gang problem. So, you have gang problems throughout the United States. My major concern, my thoughts are that it might serve as a deterrent in that the bad guy is going to think twice before he thinks about committing crime, because he's not going to be able to determine whether or not his victim is armed and ready to use it against him. But you know what? Just to go further, Rob, I think I'm afraid that more of your situations are gonna occur between road rage.
Okay.
That's
the main concern,
that's
because
my road rage now.
a lot of road rage
Road rage is
issues.
where the gunplay might happen more so than with the gangbangers. They have guns already.
Now, with you being elected as the new first African American sheriff of Cook County, how would you stop this issue with the road rage and the gunplay out here with these young kids? Because we're going to come out there and punch 95 for this Democratic candidate to make sure that he is in this office, but we want to know, what are you going to do about this?
We're going to take a massive educational program. We're talking about the radio stations, the magazines, and television, cable TV. It's going to be a massive education of the public going on as the next sheriff of Cook County. I'm talking about some of the issues that we anticipate, and to just because you have to be sensitive to your fellow motorists and to your fellow neighbor, your fellow citizen. And one thing I think that's what left out of the equation with the concealed carry is it should have been a use of force class curriculum, at least 80 hours, at least 40 hours of use of force. The program should have been expanded. That was actually I was part of when they had the public. What do you call it, when the public comes together and talking about the issue? I was there, and that was my suggestion to have 40 hours of use of force, because a person really should.
That's
be aware.
basically like a security guard training.
Well, yeah, well, you should, yeah.
Okay.
That too, yes.
So
Because you carry a weapon.
CPD goes through the academy approximately 4 months, 380 hours or 472 hours right now. What does the sheriffs go through?
The sheriff's department goes to 4 hours of law enforcement training.
Okay.
And we're going to increase that to 800 hours.
800 hours.
Yes, so that new curriculum right now is going to involve corrections training, court services training, and police training.
Okay.
So a good 20 to 24 week curriculum would be able to incorporate all of that information that we need.
What about use of force?
Use of force, it should be just really a 40 hours of use of force.
Okay.
This is a whole week of class, 8 hours a day, times 5, 8, 40 hours.
So going through psych class and everything.
You get psychological training, you get CPR, you get defensive driving, you get psychology, you get courtroom security, jail security, you get, this is all that, a lot of scenarios.
Okay. Now, will there be more jobs out here for the new sheriff, deputy sheriffs, sheriff police out here?
Well, we come with a little over 200 Shackman free jobs, so we're talking about my team. So I'm going to go in requesting or asking for just for everyone to submit a letter of resignation, 150 days or 180 days, something like 6 months, 5 months, because we want to bring my team in and make sure that it runs effectively. Not that the team there is not as effective as I anticipate my team to be, but that's just how the politics go. You have my team, I know that they have my philosophy, they have my mission, and it's priority to them. So we're going to go in and help and sort of slowly, have my team members come in and replace those old team members.
Okay. What is it that the current sheriff is not doing effectively to get the job done that you will do to make sure that everyone is satisfied with you being the first African American sheriff in Cook County?
And that's a good question. Countywide policing strategy,
Okay.
countywide patrol, countywide gang unit, countywide attack teams, countywide investigators. See, this countywide strategy is long overdue. It's already practiced in LA. It's already practiced in Broward County. It's already practiced in Dade County. So this countywide strategy. And what brought that to heart was that 500 plus murders in the city of Chicago, 2013, and the sheriff's department didn't even offer assistance to the city of Chicago to fight crime. You know, you had citizens. You probably heard it. Citizens asking for the National Guard.
Yes.
Come on now.
South side of Chicago,
People
on the
asking
west
for
side
the
of Chicago.
National Guard to come in. That's how scared. That's how.
So to keep the federal government from coming over and taking over your job and telling you, hey, you're just a sheriff. We're running this in the town. Now, how can you stop that?
Well, exactly. Actually, law enforcement protocol would have been for the sheriff police or the sheriff's department and the state police to help any jurisdiction that needs help. You don't call in the National Guard. Actually, they're not really trained to handle domestic situations. They're really, trained, maybe national situations, but they're not really trained to police citizens.
Okay. Okay.
But what? Another thing, going back to that, when we talked about coming to the department, the first step, and I think about it, and I thought this carefully, is going to be an audit. We're going to audit personnel, and we're going to audit the budget.
So you're going to go in there and clean the house?
Yeah, we got to have an audit because I want to know where the bodies are. Do we have any ghost payrollers?
Okay.
Just how much money do we have? And it's important to see the sheriff department right now has in the law enforcement community, our image needs a lot of building on.
Okay.
It needs a lot of improvement. We're not thought of as professional as we should be. It's considered. And I hate to say it because I am a sheriff.
No, go ahead and say it.
It's considered a joke in the law enforcement community.
Okay.
A joke, And I hate to say that because I'm a 22-year veteran, so I'm calling myself a joke.
Okay.
But that's not because of the rank and file. That's because of the sheriffs.
Okay.
We never had a sheriff style with Elrod who really had the kahunas to be the sheriff. You know what I mean? And when I say that, I mean to act like you have countywide jurisdiction, to provide police service countywide. The sheriff department was relegated to what I call a glorified security outfit. And not that I'm not going to get the security outfits.
Okay.
But these guys are professional law enforcement individuals.
Okay.
We work the jails. And when you work the jail, that's a tough job. You're working these hardened criminals without guns, without handcuffs. So it becomes a mind game in the jail.
Okay.
So you have one officer supervising 40 to 60 detainees. So actually they could take over if they wanted to.
So let me ask you this question: with the situations with these breakouts, with these inmates breaking out in county jails and things of that nature, how are you going to make it more secure and safer, and get these? Can I be properly say crooked sheriff or deputy sheriff officers that's going in bringing in illegal substances and things of that nature? Are you going to go in Cook County, 26 in California, and get this corrected as well, or are you going to get your people in there to straighten things out, or what's going on? Is that the part of the job of the sheriff?
With escapes are the major reason for escapes are human error.
Okay.
And human error sometimes is a result of lack of training.
Okay.
So we got to always constantly keep that training element around. These guys, some of the guys, they get lax. They don't look at the paperwork. They didn't see that this guy was supposed to be released because they're not really taking their job serious. And sometimes in service training has a way of perking you right back up and getting you re-energizing you and getting you involved. So we got to make training a constant denominator in this job. 367 days, 365 days a year. And the sheriff, and when we think about morale being low, that's one part that brings on the human error. I don't care about this job. The guys that come to work sometimes their appearance says that I don't really care, their attitude says I don't really care. So it starts at the top. I got to be that image and put the word down, make these guys respect the job, and that's bringing about a new sheriff department and what can we call it? Elevating the perception, the public perception of the department.
Okay.
And putting it on a higher ground. Now, as far as corruption, we're going to have currently now we have an Office of Professional Standards, and that's manned by lawyers.
Okay.
A lot of cronyism went into the assignment of those individuals working in that department. We're gonna clean house in that department. I won't say people get fat. We're going to use another term. We're going to clean house. We're going to bring back seasoned law enforcement professionals from within the department. These guys will be trained in internal affairs and how internal affairs are run. Now, granted, an individual that works internal affairs is a different kind of officer. He's got to care about the department. He's got to, be one that's have a high standard of integrity and honesty. So, because if one of your co-workers are wrong, you got to be willing to take them down.
Now, let me ask you another question before we go to commercial break. Will you implement, if someone with the Chicago Police Department or Dalton or Riverdale, if they want to switch over, what is the process?
Lateral transfers don't exist right now.
Okay.
Lateral transfers don't exist. The only thing that happens now, just for your listeners know that at the end of the academy, in the last week of the academy, the state comes in and tests all of the cadets. And so that test is the state certification test. Now that test enables them to go anywhere in the state.
Oh, really?
But if Dalton comes to Cook County, or Chicago comes to Cook County, or Cook County to Chicago, we still have to go through what we call field training.
Oh, really?
We have to learn the area, the beats, and we have to learn the city ordinances and things like that. So, because those things, they differ.
Okay.
But no, lateral transfer does exist, but not in the minds of maybe what most people think. You don't just come right in.
Yeah.
You still got to go into some remedial training and basically the ordinances.
Okay.
Yeah, but it happens. But
no, with me,
and actually it saves money because that person's already been through the academy. So the academy runs $3 to $5,000 per cadet, if not maybe even $7,000.
Most definitely.
So it's a saving. It's a savings to the organization, but it's not just clear cut. You still have to give. You want to give the individual that comes from their department a little more weight or a little more credence. But think about the one that hasn't been. He wants an equal chance. He wants an equal shot at the job. So it's kind of the new cadet versus the one with the experience. So all depends. It's a totality of things that you take into consideration.
Okay.
And you put a lot of weight on the fact that this guy is a former police officer.
Okay. All right. Well, we are looking forward to having number 95 push. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to call in right now to 708-343 to 3906. GSJBC Radio, Gospel Smooth Jazz Radio. We are here live on the air. We are talking with elected Democratic candidate Sylvester Baker for sheriff, the first African-American sheriff here in the city of Chicago. So you need to come on in and give us a call because this man wants to hear you with the faith that he has and what he's going to do for the city of Chicago. He want to make sure that you understand that Chicago needs a new sheriff in town. Cook County needs a new sheriff in town. And you need to punch 95 for this Democratic Mr. Sylvester Baker for sheriff, the new sheriff in town. And he's coming in and he's strapping up to make sure that everything is done correctly. So, hey, you need to listen up. GSJBC Radio broadcasting live on Live 365 and Sirius XM Radio Channel 432. I want everybody to tune in every day and listen to us. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Mr. Sylvester Baker for the first African-American sheriff, Democratic, punch 95 tomorrow. Get out there in the polls. Don't hesitate. Don't play any games. You hear the number. You know the number. You see the number. Where can they contact you when you get office?
Okay, well, we have a couple of numbers. We want to get on 312-659-1418.
Okay.
Okay, 312 again, 659-1418.
I have one more question to ask you with the situation with people being afraid to call in because they fear that their names are going to be called out over the mics while squad cars that are coming in. I'm a former Chicago police officer. Okay, so I know the ropes. I know what the deal is. So what is it that the Cook County Sheriff will do differently to make sure that Rahm Emanuel feel comfortable with you in office, in place?
And that goes into this countywide policing strategy that we got to implement. Now, in answer to your question, we're going to form a 200-man task force. These are going to be hand-picked county officers to work the city of Chicago. Now, Rob, political protocol demands or requires that, I'm saying political protocol, not the law, requires that I, have a meeting with the mayor and just discuss the fact of bringing in 200 officers to the city of Chicago. Okay. And this is something we do plan to do.
Just 200? Why not
well,
more?
because we have it's a manpower issue within the sheriff's office. We got to be that's the result of total reorganization because the manpower is there. It's not be reorganizing the department. We're not going to drain the department. Okay. But I see clearly 200 on the low and 250 on the high that we could detail to the city and not really have a manpower shortage.
Well, what are we loading at this present time? African American men, females, Latinos, office? Yes, and the sheriffs.
Ooh, well, the demographics have switched so much within the last 12 years. You have probably 37% African Americans now, and maybe 15 white, and then you have another 50%. I'll go back. 37% African American. Okay. 10 to 15% Hispanic, Asian, and you have another 50% or 47 to 50% white. So the demographics have changed. You have a lot of white individuals coming into the departments more so. It used to be maybe 65% African American, but the demographics have changed.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know the number 95. Punch 95. 95 for Democratic candidate for Cook County Sheriff, the first African American sheriff that the state of Illinois will have in Chicago. Cook County needs number 95 punch. Come on, Sylvester Baker for sheriff. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to call in, and he has that number. It is 312-659-1418. That's 312-659-1418. If you have any questions or anything, you can call concerns about what we want to do is have you out there at the polls tomorrow. Punch 95 for Democrat. 95 for Democrat. Sylvester Baker for sheriff. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening to what this man has to say and what changes he's going to do today and when he gets into office. Once again, thank you very much. Do you have anything else you want to tell your constituents out there?
Yes, it's a lot of things I hadn't touched on. We talked about that one component of my platform, which is public safety, that whole countywide policing strategy that's going to be implemented. But when we think about, I have two other pieces of that 3-point platform. The second item is youth programs.
Okay.
We plan to recruit a minimum of 5,000 youth countywide. And we want to involve those youth in mentoring programs and sports programs, and we want to provide scholarships for those high school seniors planning to attend college. Now, those mentoring programs will be consisting of anger management and conflict resolution and leadership training and etiquette training. These are vital things that you know and that we know that our youth need today, because many of them believe that the only way to solve an issue is to shoot a person down. Gunplay. They don't believe in dialogue. Dialogue means you're weak, in their mindset. So we have these programs we want to get off the ground. Sports programs, we want to bring back boxing and football and basketball and tennis, golf, soccer. These kind of things we want to get, And so just that, and I thought of that number 5,000 youth countywide. When you look at that's a small number, but we can start with the number. We're going to provide everything: transportation. We're going to provide the uniform. We're going to provide the venues. All they're going to have to do is just show up. Now, while we have these programs going on, there's going to be a lot of coaching and mentoring going on. So we're going to incorporate that in the sports program. So and this is going to be a youth services department. We had that under Elrod back in the late 70s and the early 80s. It was cut out. I don't know.
No, you said we had that.
Sure, we made the sheriff department. It was cut out.
Why?
That I don't know. I was probably an officer then. Actually, so. But no, I think it was a valuable program. It wasn't as broad as I'm planning to do.
Okay.
So we're gonna have a lot of I already got a lot of individuals in this town with sports backgrounds, coaching background. They're already committed. They're just waiting on me to get in. We're gonna kick it right off. The vision is gonna be passed on to them, and they're gonna put the program together.
Okay.
So at least 3 guys that the guy that actually handled Gil Walker.
Oh, right.
Earl Williamson.
Okay.
These guys, they know the game. And so they're waiting they're on hold, waiting to get it together, waiting for the victory so they can start this program, get it going. Gil Walker ran Midnight Basketball.
Wow.
So Gil Walker is an avid supporter, ready to get things going. And then that third component of the platform is that rehabilitation program, bringing rehabilitation programs in the county jail. And that's going to have an impact on reducing recidivism on the county level. Now that program is going to involve training such as auto mechanics, fixing a tune-up, a brake job, just those 2 simple things. You always need a tune-up, you always need a brake job. Change an alternator, starter. We want to bring in cosmetology, culinary arts, cooking. We want to bring in a barber college class. We want to have introduction to computer classes.
Okay.
And we want to enhance the GED program. Is currently there. We want to enhance that program to get more detainees involved.
How is that program going at this present time?
The GED program is a success program. It's a success there. Now, but back to those city college programs, we're talking about putting together a relationship with city colleges, because all of these programs are programs that are already a part of the city college program.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of creating a relationship and bringing those programs in. Now, just say, for instance, that an individual bonds out while he's in the program. He's going to be able to go right over to the city colleges not like next day, but you have that link to resume the program, because we're going to follow along the same curriculum that they have in the city college, so you won't get lost. So that's something, because we have to. That reducing recidivism is a serious problem, because this cycle of coming in and out of jail, in and out of jail. And another thing we're going to do is we're going to have only educational programming on the television between the hours of 9 and 5. Educational programming only. The soap operas, the westerns, the cartoons will not be on television.
Now, is this just public access TV, or is this?
Now, this might be something we have to put in the budget. We have to pay.
Okay.
We're going to bring some sort of. And when we do after the study, the last study was done. The average age, statistical age of a detainee would be the average educational level. Let's go back. Not age would be that of a seventh grader. So when we bring in that program, we got to consider that the average educational level of a detainee is the seventh grade. So we bring in the program and loop it, and so from 9 to 5, these guys gonna learn something just watching television.
Instead of sitting there watching TV and they're keeping their mind unoccupied.
So we're gonna put something on that's relevant.
Okay.
History, science, and at their intellectual level.
All right.
So I think that'll be key. If you're watching the same thing over and over for a week, you learn something. But you thought it was boring at first, you got to watch it, and you remember. You know how it is. You loop something on and on. You learn it.
Okay.
So that's the theory behind that. So we want to change the whole dynamics of it in county jail. Ex-offenders. I support ex-offenders wholeheartedly. And I said that at the beginning of my campaign. And I said it as I campaigned throughout the county. These are our relatives, and we need to know. And these guys are going to be the ones to help keep peace on the street. When the police can't solve a crime, we got to go to them. And as a former police officer yourself, a lot of information is based on informants.
Okay.
You solve heavy crime, they're not by coincidence.
Yeah.
The news said it was a traffic stop, but no, we had a traffic stop, you stopped somebody 100 kilos. No, that was an informant.
Yeah.
Keep fooling the public if you want to. That was an informant, y'all. That wasn't no just simple traffic stop. They had an informant, they're trying to protect them. But no, going back to the point, is I created a relationship with what I call the old heads. These are the gang leaders that are 50 years and over. I'm not going to be afraid to talk to them. I'm not going to be afraid to let the power that be talk about how are you the sheriff, and you speak to these guys, speaking to these gang leaders. These guys are our cousins, uncles, brothers, and you know that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that these guys can play a key role in keeping peace on the streets. I'm talking countywide, not just in Chicago, but suburban Cook County also, which Chicago is the nucleus of most of the violence. So these guys are going to play a key role. I want to put together something like a community intervention network that operates in the same capacity as a ceasefire that we're all aware of. Maybe bring 20 guys into the county, put them on payroll, and they operate that same capacity. And I think that'll be an effective apparatus to help keep and maintain peace on the streets. Are we going to be perfect? No. But will we be able to take a large bite out of crime? Yes, we will. Because as the next sheriff, we're coming at our target group of criminals are going to be the shooters. We're going to put together an intelligence portfolio on all of the known shooters and potential shooters in Cook County. Okay. And so we're going after shooters. We're going to serve notice. When I say the shooters, to your listeners, just to define that, we're talking about these young guys that shooting our neighborhoods up and still walking the streets. We're going to identify them, and the jail is a wealth of intelligence, and everybody knows that.
Now, what about these houses that's in the community? Because my mother was living here in Chicago. They did not know there were houses in the residential community that were housing criminals. Now, what is the community or the sheriff's going to do about that?
The halfway houses we're talking about, that's a difficult issue right there, because if
murderers, we have
first of all, it's a non-for-profit organization, and generally has to put that house there. Robbie generally has to get permission from the alderman, someone, and a lot of times they have a survey done surrounding the blocks of at least within a square mile of that designated location. Okay. And they generally have the neighbors give their feedback, whether they oppose or support the fact that this type of housing come into their community. Okay. So a lot of times when it's there, it's already gotten approval. But what we can do for those that already suffer, just monitor it. Keep an observation on it, you know. And there will probably be other agencies that will be doing that same thing. So we can probably have a roster of everyone who's residing in that facility, and just monitor it carefully.
Why can't the sheriff department have a separate wing for sex offenders to keep them still close to the unit, sex offenders, murderers, rapists, instead of having them out there in the population with the community, that they are able to get back out there and commit those same crimes again in the same jurisdiction and area, like the situation with the guy who killed his wife in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. How would the sheriff handle that situation?
Now, there is a classification system coming into the jail. First of all, you're asking your gang affiliation, so they won't put you, if you're a vice lord, we won't put you amongst a lot of your rival gangs. Won't put you with disciples or gangsters. And then if you're a sex offender or child molester, you're already put in what we call safekeeping, because you're going to get some jail justice. Rapists and sex offenders are not treated very warmly in the county jail or the penal system.
Okay.
So that we have to do that just for a matter of their safety. So it's probably unknown to you. Listen, they don't just go into, unless their case is a secret and it's not known that you came in as a rapist or a sex offender. But if it's known to the population, we have to put you in safekeeping, because they're going to give you some sort of justice.
Wow. Okay. Well, what is it else that you want to focus on?
I kind of think we touched on a lot of points. I did mention there's going to be a countywide 800 hotline number where citizens can call Cook County.
Do you have that number already?
No. When we're in office, that's going to be an 800 countywide hotline number where you can call and report drug activity, gang activity, prostitution. So we're going to have that available to all county residents, and we will respond to that within 48 hours. Some other issues that I can say: transparency and promotions and assignments. You pretty much let me get everything out that I pretty much wanted.
Well, I am glad that you were able to come out to GSJBC Radio and get your focus and let the people know who is Sylvester Baker, because that's who we need to know. Going to the polls and just punching numbers is nothing, but we need to hear what you want to make sure that is implemented out here.
Exactly, and we see these partnerships is going to be so key. Partnership with the community activists, partnerships with the clergy. That's probably my number one partnership. Partner with the business community. Partner with community residents. So it's going to be partnerships. I'm going to send myself the community sheriff.
Community sheriff.
Community sheriff.
Okay, that's what we need to hear. We need a community sheriff that is going to make sure that they can go to someone and talk to them without any hesitation or have to go through all the red tape and yellow tape and everything. So, ladies and gentlemen, you want a sheriff in town that's going to make sure that the job is done right, to make you feel safe, and make sure that he gets under the belt of the mayor, Rahm Emanuel. Punch 95. Democratic candidate for Cook County Sheriff, the first African American sheriff here in Cook County. His name is Sylvester Baker. He's running for sheriff. His number is 95. Punch it. He's a Democrat. And if you want to be effective and know what this man is going to do, get out there to the polls right away. GSJBC Radio, we are here. We are glad that we can have Mr. Sylvester Baker here. We're going to call him Sheriff Baker, because the new sheriff is in town.
Thank you, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ron. Get no better than that now.
Great. Very good.
No better than that. That's excellent.
Thank you very much.
I got all my points out.
Thank you very much, and that's what we want to.
Wow, excellent job. You Chicago TV, look at you, man.
Yeah.
Look at you. What's up, stranger? I gotta go right on point, man. Oh, you gotta call you got some stuff. They call you. Rob, that is the bathroom?
Oh, they're working on it right now. Yeah, I got women in here and everything. Let's do it. Right here. Welcome. How you doing? How you doing? I'm sorry about that. You want some water? I got some ice cold water for you. Okay. Let me get you right here by the banner right there.
You get ready to leave, Troy?
Oh, the banner.
Okay. Very good. So, Jeff?
You have your banner?
Troy, you bring anything short?
Yes, sir.
You got any signs on you?
Yes, sir.
Come on.
Come on. Okay. Come aside.
You got your posse with you, huh?
Yeah, this my press man and a campaign man. I call him campaign coordinator.
Okay.
They like to beat up a campaign man.
Oh,
They like to find, I don't like that term. Anybody matter? He don't boss, but the guy, we don't use that term no more. They strike that much animosity. They did.
I really appreciate
So, yeah, we said coordinator, they make want to fight him so much.
I wanted to tell you something because I know you don't like
I was trying to get everybody
playing the race car.
times and everything.
Facebook, I put out this. I said, since 1831, 173 years ago, 1831, there has never been African Americans in the whole position of sheriff.
GSJBC Radio. We're broadcasting live on Live 365. We are here today. We want everybody to tune in every day. We had just had Democratic sheriff in town. First African American sheriff running for Cook County, Illinois, Sylvester Baker for sheriff. Punch 95. He's a Democrat. He is going to make sure that everything is being effective and work for you. So tune in every day. GSJBC Radio. We want you to hear what we have to say. 708-343-3906. That's 708-343-3906. So give it a call at 630-215-8582. That's 630-215-8582. That's right. GSJBC Radio. And if you want to contact Sylvester Baker, you can call at 312-659-1418. That's 312-659-1418. GSJBC Radio. We're supporting Sylvester Baker for sheriff. Punch 95, Democrat.
You need a picture? Wow, you good.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sister, she was trying to get coffee in here, and she was running around and everything.
Oh, they don't like it?
Oh, okay.
Oh, they like it.
You ain't nobody.
I ain't sheriff.
That's Harold Washington.
Yeah, he get ready to move it out.
Oh, laid back, man, like man.
Man's puppy laid back. He just being upset and stressed out about it because you can't do anything about it in that situation. That's where you solve a problem. Be in control of the problem.
Don't forget to tune in to GSJBC Radio. We got great candidates running. Don't forget to get to that polls tomorrow. We have another candidate coming up. He's running for 1st District Cook County Commissioner. His name is Ronald Lawless. He'll be running to make sure that his number is punch 106. We'll be having Mr. Ronnie Lawless. He'll be running for 1st District Cook County Commissioner. So if you want to have a good, interesting conversation with Mr. Lawless, please give us a call at 708-343-3906. That's 708-343-3906. We're looking for you to give us a call. This gentleman has a long life residency, and he's the 1st District, and he's running in the 1st District. He's trying to eliminate all the issues that's going on as Cook County Commissioner. So if you have any questions, please give us a call. 630-215-8582. Or give us a call at 708-343-3906. That's 708-343-3906. We want you to give us a call right now because, hey, this is something that you need to understand and listen, because we are here going to make sure that you get your points across. Answers answered, not all of them today, but GSJBC Radio want all those individuals that want to come in and work it out. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate. Give us a call right now, 708-343-3906. That's 708-343-3906. We have the one and only Mr. Ronald Lawless be coming up in a few minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know the number. Don't forget to tweet us. 2014 is the year for the new candidates. You have those numbers. We'll be putting them back out there in a few minutes. Mr. Ronald Lawless will be coming in a few minutes and answering and waiting for your calls. He is running for the 1st District Cook County Commissioner here in Chicago, Illinois. So if you have any questions, give us a call. Candidate, he is a Democrat that is running for this position. His number is going to be 106. VoteForLawless.com. VoteForLawless.com. And don't forget to text the word lawless to 55000. That's lawless, LAWLESS, all capitalized, to 55000. Don't forget to punch 106. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We are having a great time today. GSJBC Radio broadcasting live today. Here is something that you need to understand. GSJBC Radio. We had Sylvester Baker broadcasting here today. He got his points across. He's running. We've had other issues being touched and topics, but Mr. Lawless is here, and he'll be coming to you in a few minutes. He want to reach down in your soul and your pocket and answer all your questions. So if you have any questions, just give us a call, 708-343-3906.
Mic's off.
Mic's off. So
So what time are you going to have me start on the top of the hour?
yeah, in a few seconds. Radio. We broadcast on Live 365 and Sirius XM Radio Channel 432. Live 365 is just like iHeartRadio. We're heard all over the world, and I wanted to get you guys in here because tomorrow's election day. Mm-hmm. And my assistant contacted me at the last minute and like, hey, we need to get these Democratic candidates in here so we can get these points and issues hit right away, because people are going to polls punching numbers and they don't know who they're punching for and why they're punching, and they're being misled. So yeah, I'm trying to keep any confusion down, any confrontations down, anything like that, but you are a man of God. I can see that it's going to I guess you're hitting the pound ball. You have your campaign manager with you, or
No.
no?
He's getting things ready for tomorrow.
Okay. A few seconds.
How long you been on the radio?
10 years. 16 years. We were originally down the street in Broadview, but we had an issue with the roof caved in. So we decided I took a house and I converted it to a TV studio. Sirius XM Radio is next room to Studio B. This is Studio A. So we broadcast live every day, 24 hours a day.
Now, when you say Sirius, somebody else is broadcasting over there.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm also feeding it through here at the same time.
So while you're down, what's going on in music?
Yes. Yeah, because commercial-free radio.
Okay.
Strictly smooth jazz, gospel, take you way back, Christian. We have hit on different topics and issues as well.
Okay. Gotcha.
Still down. You want to go ahead and take your calls, or
I just want to make a...
go ahead?
Okay.
Welcome. We are back here in the studio right now. We have a new candidate in the office right now. Right now, we have Mr. Ronald Lawless. He is running for 1st District Deputy Cook County Commissioner. Welcome, Mr. Lawless. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Doing very good.
That's great. We want everyone to, if you can turn around to the camera so everybody can see you,
Okay.
see who they're talking to.
Right.
There we go. Tell us, who is Ronald Lawless? I've read your profile and everything. I've gotten everything, your pamphlets. I've read about you. Tell the constituents who you are and what is it that you're going to do differently. What are you going to do differently that the other commissioners are not doing at this present time?
Well, who I am a lifelong resident of the 1st District. I've been living in the 1st District for over some 20 plus years, and maybe much longer than that. But my whole emphasis has always been community involvement, advocacy. I have fought to improve the lives of those that I wish to represent, but most importantly, just improve the lives of individuals as a human being, to better one's life and make one's life a better life than what one's life is at this present time. So, who I am a person who believes in being involved, being engaged. I believe in public service, and most importantly, I believe in being responsive to people when you are called upon, or you are calling yourself to be a public figure. I think too often we get elected officials who become self-absorbed by the power and the status and the position that they forget that their role as a servant. We are servants of the public.
Okay.
When I ask people for their vote, I'm asking for their vote because I believe that I have something to bring that will make their lives better. I believe sometimes many of our elected officials, or even candidates, they're running more so because of once again, the status, the power, and maybe a paycheck. I believe that if we are going to be successful and we're going to have the type of government we deserve, then we have to do a better job in selecting who we are putting in office too often we just accept the propaganda, the platitude, and we go vote for these individuals. I think it is I think that one has to be very conscientious of an individual who says he or she is going to do a lot. Because we can do only so much. If all the things that we wanted to do could be done, they would be done by now. So the question is, if you're going to do all these things, what are you going to do to make these things happen? Abraham Lincoln once said, "We ought not promise what we cannot deliver." And I'm not one to promise something that I cannot deliver. I believe as a candidate, my promises should be limited. And the reason I say that is because there is so many things that I can, but there's so many things that I can't do. And so when I tell people I'm going to create jobs, I'm not being honest. When I tell people I'm going to make the streets safer, I'm not being honest. Because I can't make those things happen, first of all, by myself. There is a board in which there's 17 members on the board. And in order to get anything passed or anything to become an ordinance, we got to get 9 votes. So in my case, I would have to get 8 more votes than what I already have to add to my 1 vote. So I'm Ron Lawless, the person who is more interested in supporting what people's interests are. And I would always say that this campaign that I'm in right now has become a campaign of money, a campaign of endorsements. We have spent more time talking about how much money we've raised and who has endorsed us. But we don't talk about the individuals who vote is the only thing that counts. That's the only endorsement that really counts. So if you talk about the endorsement of this person, that person, I want you to think about, what about the endorsement of the individual you're going to represent?
Okay.
Because when you talk about those individuals, then I'm under the impression that you're going to be more interested in serving their interests than the interests of the people who will be electing you.
Okay.
So we have to be very conscientious of people who want to talk about all the people that they have endorsed them, but never talk about you, the individual that you're going to represent. Let me just say this. I believe that in my role as a Cook County Commissioner, I have several things that I need to be conscientious about. One, I need to make sure that you keep a roof over your head, or you can put a roof over your head if you don't have one yet, to make sure you can put food on your table, to keep food on your table, put clothes on your back, and to ensure that if there's an opportunity for a better job, to provide that opportunity. Now, if I can create those 4 things as my platform, then people will have an interest. Me saying that I'm going to reduce county budget, I'm going to reduce the county jail, I'm going to have people pay less in fees, which does impact one's life, those things don't impact an individual as much as food, clothing, housing, and a means for providing for those things. So I want to make sure that we make a county government that works on behalf of the people instead of working against the people. So
Okay.
those are some of the things that I like to see happen.
So what is it that your fellow candidates or your counterparts are doing that you feel that is not, the job is not getting done, and then when you get into this office and you want everyone to punch 106, what is it that you want them to realize from Ronald Lawless that he's going to do the job?
Now, are you asking what I think of what the people should do?
Yes.
Well, I mean, first of all, let's just be honest. I think that elected officials spend more time trying to smooth you and give you roundabout answers to questions that you're asking. Let's just be honest. We are adults. We can handle the truth. There are a lot of people before us who have made the county, as well as the state and the city, a mess fiscally. We have what we call a structural deficit in the Cook County government. What that really means is that we don't raise enough revenue to pay our bills. So what happens is that we either have to borrow, which is going to increase lower our bond rating, and also it may force us to have a new tax to pay those bonds off. It costs more money to borrow than it would be to just have the money raised through a proper channel of revenue. And there's a lot of ways that we can probably do that. One way is to collect the taxes that are already not being collected.
Okay.
And if we do that, we'll be okay. and also creating now I believe in a tax where we tax the rich for trading municipal bonds on behalf of the county for raising money. I think that they have enough money to do so, and we need to ask that they do pay their fair share, and not put so much of this on the people that are less fortunate. And I think in the end, you'll have a much more prosperous county, but a much more balanced county.
Okay. So when you get into this office, you're going to make sure that people are having their homes safely and secure without being swiped up off underneath them with these new high county taxes. And what is the issues are you with the taxes right now?
Well, let me just say this. When it comes to property taxes, Cook County has the lowest tax rate of all the other taxing bodies that tax you through property taxes. I don't want people to get the misconception that the county government is taxing you so much that it's making your tax bill high. When you look at your tax bill, your schools are your highest base of taxes that are being taxed, that you're being taxed on. The county government maybe get maybe 2 to 5% of that whole total tax bill. So what I'm focusing on are the things that we substitute property taxes which are excess taxes, which would be taxes on cigarettes, taxes, a sales tax, taxes on or raising your birth certificate. Now I think it's $10 or $15 to get a birth certificate, where when I remember when they used to be free, or when before they became free, they were $5. So we cannot continue to nickel and dime our residents and thinking that we're going to have a happy bunch of individuals running around saying, wow, I can't wait to get a new tax on me. People are burned out, their tax burned out, and here's the other problem. What are we doing with the money? We're taxing. We're raising these revenues, but what are we doing with the money? Look at the neighborhoods. Look at the community. Look at what is going on. First, what does a county commissioner do? What is the role of the county board? One, we provide health service, health care, public health. That's through Stroger Hospital, Providence, and all the clinics that we control.
What is the role of the county commissioner?
That's one, is to provide public health service. Also, the other one is to provide public safety, which the sheriff himself talked about many of the things that they do. We fund the programs that he's interested in. We also fund his staff, and we also fund the types of programs and services he believes are going to be successful to keep those individuals from returning back to prison. Third, we also vote on legislation, we create legislation or ordinances, and we also make public policies which are in the interest of the people that live in the district. We also create fiscal policies. And what a fiscal policy is basically making sure we put on the table realistic and fair revenue sources to generate money for the programs or the services that the county is required to provide. Now, a lot of people need to understand, there's no law in the state of Illinois that provides health care for residents of Cook County. Cook County took on that role because it saw a need. So in doing so, it has allowed itself to get in a situation where we have higher deficit than what we've had in the past. But through Obamacare, we've been able to reduce that because most of the people who are now coming through Stroger now have some form of health care, which means they can now pay at least 50 cents on a dollar.
Okay.
So that's a good thing.
Now, with this health care, if you're making a certain bracket, do you still qualify for it?
Well,
see, a lot of people are misconstrued. They're thinking, okay, I must go to Get Covered Illinois or healthcare.gov and sign up. Be on this deadline of March 31st so we don't get fined. But a lot of people don't know that there is a certain bracket that you have to get fixed on. Can you explain that?
Well, here's what happens. It's like anything. It's a sliding scale. If you make a certain amount of money, you cannot get what we call a subsidy. what you're talking about is a person eligible for subsidy, which is the government is going to help pay for your health insurance. If you're making a certain amount of money, I don't know that amount, then you don't get the subsidy. But you don't need the subsidy because you're making a great amount of money. A lot of employers are now eliminating their health benefits and giving people money to go out in the market and find a benefit that best suits their needs without the interference of an employer. So when it comes to health care and who's paying for it, it really depends on one's income level. If you're a poverty level, then the government will pay for it. What we have in Cook County is county care. That is the equivalent of the state Medicare program, but instead it's for Cook County residents. So really, no one in this Cook County should be without health insurance at all. I remember going to Stroger Hospital early this year, on the 2nd of January, and I met with patients. I talked to patients. A lot of patients told me they were happy with the services that they were getting. They were happy with the fact that the system is working better. They were happy by the fact that they had good doctors who were responsive, and so they felt like someone said, I felt like I was at Northwestern. Here's what's happening. When you make a competitive market for a service, then that person or that company has to adjust to that market. So we at county, at the Stroger Hospital, know that these individuals have other places that they're going to go to. So we can't just make the assumption that they're going to stay with us.
Okay.
So we have to make this work on their behalf.
Okay. So let me ask you this: what about the county morgue situation? How would you handle that situation with the county morgue, with mishandling of the corpses and things of that nature? Will you go in there and clean house like Pat Winkle supposedly had done?
Well, from what I can gather, she's already started that process. As a Cook County Commissioner, I would request whatever information that I would need to determine whether or not this is the right track and that the person that we have hired is the right person. To say that I would go in and clean up, well, first of all, it's being cleaned up, and the question is how much cleaning up would I be able to do? Remember, I'm one vote, I'm a commissioner. So what I would do is ask for information to let me know where we are with regards to getting more back to the place that it ought to be. Now, it is a total travesty that those individuals were not treated with the dignity that individuals should be treated. The bodies on top of bodies, people not knowing who's who. That should have never happened. And I commend President Tony Winkle for removing the individuals who were there, firing those individuals who were not doing their job. I think that we owe it to our public to always, no matter whether our public who are being served are alive or those who have left us, with some decency and with respect. Because there's no excuse for that. That is not a story that should have never been in the paper. That's not a story that should have ever happened.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know the number, 708-343-3906. That's 708-343-3906. You can give us a call if you want to talk to the 1st District Cook County Commissioner candidate. He's a Democrat. Ronald Lawless. Give us a call. The number for you to punch tomorrow at the polls is 106. Punch 106. March 18th will be the date for you to go in and make your vote count. So make sure you know who you're voting for, why you're voting. Just don't go in there and figure, okay, play tic-tac-toe with the numbers and just punching numbers just to hurry up and get out the polls and say, yeah, I voted and got a little sticker. Don't do that, because this is your life. This is your home life. This is your family life, because you want a commissioner who's going to make sure that everything is done correctly. Ronald Lawless, he is a 1st District Cook County Commissioner candidate. He's looking to be for you, a county commissioner that is for you, a lifelong resident of Cook County who will be there in your corner. And if you want somebody to understand your political issues and avoid the political bosses, Ronald Lawless is the man for you. Punch 106. 106 at the polls tomorrow, March 18th. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for choosing GSJBC Radio, Gospel Smooth Jazz Radio. Ronald Lawless, Cook County, can we call it Cook County Commissioner?
Well, yes, you can call it. That's what it is. Cook County Commissioner.
Is there anything else you want your constituents to know?
Well, if you want more information about my candidacy and what I stand for, my position, and I think you're very, very correct to say, don't just go in and just tic-tac-toe and pick whomever because you don't know. I would rather you not vote for anybody than to vote for someone that might be more detrimental to you than not. I think we are in an age where technology allows us quick access on people. And I think that you can go to their website, you can Google, you can find out a lot about an individual and know that the person that you want to vote for is the person you want to vote for. There's no excuse to say, I couldn't find the information, there was nothing on that person. If they're running for public office, chances are there's something on that person. Another thing that I did not get a chance to mention, but before I do that, I want to tell people the website address is vote, V-O-T-E, 4, lawless.com. So that's voteforlawless.com. You can go to that website and you can learn a whole lot about me, a whole lot about my position, and a whole lot about our candidacy. Because this candidacy is a people movement candidacy. This is not an endorsement candidacy where I have 10 endorsers or people who have a lot of money paying to have my campaign run successfully and be successful. My whole campaign is based on volunteers, based on volunteer donations, and we're in the thick of this race and we're looking very good, and I believe we have as much of a chance to win as anyone else that's running in this race. Now, one of the things that I will say that I think that my constituents need to know is that I am very unhappy with the fact that we see a lot of our young men, as well as women today, who are arrested, and then they are either charges are dropped or they go to court and they win the court case. The problem is that those arrest records still exist. They need to be expunged. I believe that the county should implement an ordinance that makes every municipality be responsible for a person who has been found not guilty or charges have been dropped against them to have their arrest records expunged. That would be the responsibility of that village. I think that we have to do this because a lot of our individuals, over 60% of the individuals that live in Austin have a criminal record, have been in jail. So even if we brought jobs to the community, what type of jobs could we bring? Who would be available to take on those jobs? 6 out of 10 people have a criminal record. Over 10,000 jobs, over 15,000 jobs have been lost in 15 years. We have the largest AIDS population in the district. So there are a lot of things to be done to help the people of the district. The question is, what can we do collectively to ensure that we are working together to make those things happen? I don't believe in saying this is what we need to do, this is what we have to do. I believe we have to have transparency. I believe we have to have participatory government, asking people to bring their ideas and suggestions so that they have an invested interest in what we do as a county board.
Okay, all right. We are happy that you came out today. I know you got a very busy schedule. I want to thank you very much for coming out to the Rob G Afternoon Drive Show here on GSJBC Radio. We will be at the polls tomorrow checking and making sure that we have those individuals are making sure that they know who they're punching for and why they're punching. Because going in there, like I just said, playing tic-tac-toe, you're playing not with your life, but you're playing with these you're playing with these gentlemen's lives because they're out here pounding the pavement every day out here in this cold weather of Chicago. And I've seen these candidates come in here. They're all fired up, but at the same time, they're trying to keep themselves bundled up. They're trying to make sure that you are making your right choice, your right views, your right opinions. Don't be afraid. These people will be at their polls waiting to hear from you. They're not going to be sitting at home on the sofa waiting to see who won. They will be out there shaking hands, greeting hands, and making sure that you are going to be ready for them in the office coming this 2014, proceed to 2015. Okay?
Let me just say this. It is very important that you be very conscientious as to who you select or vote for. Because you can see now individuals who have been elected, and when they were running and campaigning, they told you they were going to be about you. They're going to be for you. But as soon as they get elected, they don't know who you are, they forget you, and they become part of the system that we are fighting against every day. A system that is not benefiting us, a system that is not helping us. We have one of the highest African American teen unemployment in the country. Where's the government to solve these problems? It's the government that allowed those who had the money to cause the foreclosure crisis. Even after they caused the foreclosure crisis, we, the government, bailed them out while people were losing their homes. The people that should have been bailed out are the people who were getting the mortgages, who were in foreclosure, or who were being threatened for foreclosure. So when I tell people I work for the people, not politicians, that's not just a slogan. That's really who I am. I work for you. You're voting for me. And if I have the gumption to ask you for your vote, I also have the gumption to ask you, how do you want me to represent you on what issues, which best serves your interests and your needs? That's what it should be about. If people can't tell you that, don't give them your vote. You all know if a person is honest. You can sense it in their tone. You can sense it in their voice. So just make sure when you vote tomorrow, you're voting for a candidate that represents not only your interests, but the interests of the community which you live in, because that impacts you too. So I'm Ron Lawless, and I'm asking you to consider punching 106, because I think it'll be a good choice, but I think it also will be the right choice.
106, that's right. Rob G broadcasting live. We just had Ronald Lawless. He's running for 1st District Cook County Commissioner, broadcasting live on GSJBC Radio and Sirius XM Radio 432. Don't play with these people's lives. Don't play with your lives. Get a commissioner. Learn about this commissioner. Vote for this commissioner. Go and punch for 106. Lawless for you. Vote for lawless.com. www.voteforlawless.com. And now if you want to text him, text the word, all capital letters, LAWLESS. That's LAWLESS to 55000. Text that right now. Lawless to 55000. Ron Lawless. If you have any questions, don't forget, vote. Go on the web, vote for lawless.com. Punch 106. Tomorrow is election day. Don't forget, don't play. Get out there. Do what you have to do. And if you're not sure, this man has a number. What number can they contact you at?
You know, I don't know the number offhand per se, but if they want to, they can go to my website, which is voteforlawless.com.
Okay.
And hit contact and send me an email, and I will respond.
Okay, I see a number on here.
Oh, is there a number?
1888.
Okay.
551. That's 3536. That's 1888-551-3536. Visit his Facebook page, voteforlawless.com. Voteforlawless.com. That's www.voteforlawless.com. Don't forget, don't ignore your interest. He has great interest in you and your community. He is here for you. You want your revenue, you want your home. Look, focus on the important issues that these politicians are talking about. Lawless, 106. Punch it, 106. Tomorrow's the day. Thank you very much, Mr. Lawless, for coming out to GSJBC Radio. I want to thank you very much for stopping in and taking your time out. GSJBC Radio, thank you very much. Thank you.